Welcome to the Virtual Strategic Solutions Virtual Reality Simulation System. Accessing Legacy Dataset. Files loaded. Simulation ready. Located near the state line of California and Nevada, the Mojave Outpost served as a checkpoint along Interstate 15 before the war. Over 200 years later, it now serves as the boundary of the new California Republic's uncontested territory, typically the first stop for caravans traveling from the core lands to New Vegas and beyond. The outpost features the Unification Monument, a visible and distinctive feature commemorating the historic merging of the desert ranges of Nevada and the NCR ranges. Nearly 2 centuries after the war in 2271, representatives from the two groups met here to establish terms of the Ranger Unification Treaty, joining forces against the threat of the Legion. The two forces merged in exchange for NCR extending its jurisdiction to southern Nevada, New Vegas, and the Hoover Dam. After the war, now derelict vehicles remain along the interstate and at the checkpoint, which now serves as a resting area for Brahmin. In 2281, the outpost acts as an administrative hub and command center, tasked with clearing caravans and handling the logistics of protecting those traveling along the roadway. The location serves as a stopover for the southeastern Mojave, responsible for protecting the stretch of the I-15 south of Primm and Highway 95. Soldiers posted here act as border guards, ensuring the safety of caravans traversing along the interstate. Although the post at the checkpoint is not optimal, it is safer than an assignment in the east or along the Colorado River. The relative safety of the location has resulted in soldiers being siphoned off to tend to these increasingly pressing needs elsewhere in the region. When the NCRCF prison break occurred in 2281, the outpost was forced to establish a permanent outpost at Primm. The standing force lapsed in their ability to patrol the highway and ensure its security, as regulations require the outpost to maintain a certain minimal headcount. As a result, with threats unchecked on the interstate, caravans are slowly backing up at the outpost, waiting for the roads to clear or their clearance papers to come through. The outpost bar, anticipating a benefit from the influx of stranded traders, including large caravan outfits, instead experienced traders holding fast to their caps, unwilling to spend them here. The soldiers that remain here are anxious, reporting that if the Legion's forces are successful in pushing past the nearby town of Nipton, the outpost itself will become the front line. The outpost consists of 2 buildings on a hill saddle, one of which is the headquarters, and the other being the barracks. Ranger Ghost, an NCR sniper, is posted on top of the barracks building. She offers the keep your eyes on the prize quest. There is a fence enclosing the 2 buildings on all sides and several piles of sandbags for defense. The roadway in front of the buildings and fences is part of what was once a highway checkpoint station. The northern end of the valley is overshadowed by 2 large statues, and the southern is enclosed by rock walls. Sergeant Kilbourne can be found patrolling the road leading to the outpost, and a single traveling merchant moves between the outpost and the Nevada State Route 164 junction down the hill each day. The gate to the southwest continues along the I-15, but it is locked and requires a key to open. A few remnants of structures and a few power lines can be found. If the NCR is targeted in the Apocalypse quest during Lonesome Road, the gate will become unlocked and leads to Long 15. Upon entering the headquarters of the building for the first time, the courier will be greeted by Major Knight, who can repair items to 100% in addition to his possible role in the My Kind of Town questline. Ranger Jackson can usually be found in one of the building's rear rooms. He offers the Can You Find It in Your Heart quest in addition to figuring in heartache by the number. Lacey tends the bar in the barracks and offers a variety of goods for sale as well as games of caravan. A copy of Duck and Cover is found under the counter, which can be purchased from her or stolen. Rose of Sharon Cassidy, also known as Cass, sits at the bar drowning her sorrows with whiskey. Cass can eventually be recruited as a companion once the player character begins the You Can Depend on Me questline. As the main administrator of the outpost, Major Knight is in charge of processing travelers passing through the Mojave Outpost, marking the border between the Mojave and the NCR. In practice, this means logging the traffic, maintaining the logbook, and processing work orders for the outpost repair crews. The mind-numbing tedium of asking the same questions in and out, coupled with the increasing number of caravans stuck at the outpost, is slowly getting to him. He tries to keep out of Ranger Jackson's hair, however, as the commanding officer has enough on his plate without having to deal with the vagaries of the NCR's bureaucracy. The situation got even worse with the recent string of events north of the outpost. As with the 93 shut down by the NCRCF prison break, caravans are stuck at the outpost, and the garrison has no place to go on leave. Knight was a regular at the Vicky and Vance Casino, losing quite a bit of money there. He does not consider border guard duty an excellent posting, but is well aware that the alternative is being sent further east or patrolling the Colorado. Both dangerous jobs putting soldiers in contact with the Legion. The biggest issue is having to deal with orders issued in complete ignorance of the situation on the ground. In particular, he hates the fact that the outpost cannot dispatch soldiers to aid units operating in the area, such as Lieutenant Hayes's Prim detachment, because a minimum headcount must be maintained. If possible, he will try to find any rationale to convince command to give the outpost more flexibility and help out their comrades in arms. He's also willing to arrange other favors, like a court pardon to make sure Prim has a sheriff owing the NCR a favor, if given the right rationale, or the right amount of caps. Knight is willing to take bribes, though only if he can rationalize it for himself as advancing the NCR's mission. Among his fellow soldiers, he is known for his insistence on proper procedure, or at least filling out all the requisite forms. Everyone hates bureaucracy, but Knight is stuck as the person responsible for fulfilling it. Knight is also frustrated by the fact that he feels forced to conceal his homosexuality while stationed at the Mojave Outpost. He feels that being open about his sexuality and forming relationships would complicate his position and make work difficult for him, due to the frontier seeming less forgiving of LGBT people. He wishes it was different, but accepts it, as the alternatives are worse, though he seems to think the Legion is more accepting of same-sex relationships, unaware they are punished by death. However, it does not mean he will not help fellow LGBT people. If they reveal themselves to him, he is perfectly willing to bend the rules and sign work orders to have their gear repaired at a fraction of the cost. A principled patriot with an excellent grasp of strategy, Major Jackson was posted to the Mojave Outpost to ensure that caravans could safely arrive in the Mojave and head on up to New Vegas. He can be found in the headquarters building of the outpost. The courier can learn that the recent complications on the I-15 have frustrated him, as he cannot take any action without breaking his standing orders, but at the same time, the standing orders prevent him from carrying out his standing orders. Caught in a catch-22, Jackson has taken to venting to travelers to make the situation bearable. The orders in question demand that he keep a standing force at the NCR perimeter at all times, with a force of fresh recruits for a garrison. To make things worse, in order to deal with the situation up north, he'd have to send soldiers out, and that would reduce his standing force below acceptable levels. As a result, the outpost is backing up with caravans unable to turn around or press forward. Any reinforcement requests are denied, as the NCR Army Command focuses on maintaining numbers at Camp McCarran and frontline outposts like Camp Forlorn Hope. Soldiers who don't fall in that category are usually on leave, heading to New Vegas to lose their pay. Although he cannot disobey his orders, he is more than willing to work around them to fulfill his duties. While he cannot outright contract mercenaries, he can lose supplies to people willing to take on dangerous assignments to help fix his problems, such as clearing the path through the Ivanpah Valley so that the caravans can start moving. His ability to work around bureaucracy is an undeniable asset, as Jackson is one of the few people capable of navigating the Byzantine legal systems of the Republic safely and ensuring that a case reaches the courts and the Congress so that justice can be made. He does not shy away from going against caravan families and other political bigwigs, motivated by his belief in due process and the law. His strict approach to law and its principles goes double for frontier justice. He does not hesitate to put vigilantes in chains and ensure they're tried for murder. His single-minded belief in justice and patriotism helps keep him on the straight and narrow, especially when greed and corruption lead to unnecessary loss of life among honest caravaneers, weakening the Republic's already fragile hold on the Mojave and threatening the very foundations of the grand democratic project, all in the face of the totalitarian Caesar's Legion. Ghost, named after the fact she is afflicted with albinism, is a ranger marksman posted to the outpost to defend it against anyone coming up the I-15 from the Mojave. She does not appreciate the posting. Her curt demeanor earned her the ignoble moniker of bitch from some of the merchants, although her skill with a rifle ensures none say that to her face. However disliked she may be on a personal level, none doubt her skill or patriotism. A good word from her is as good as gold. Although she is an NCR patriot through and through, she does not have any imperialist zeal. In fact, she both recognizes malarkey and dismisses it just as quickly. She is quite an intuitive person, and knows full well that the end of 2281 will be far bloodier than ever before in the Mojave. This perception is also applied to reading people, and after being stuck in a literal go-nowhere bureaucratic sinkhole, she will appreciate any and all actual vigor. Her attitude is most likely the result of her posting. Being stuck as a sniper in an outpost situated in a narrow pass is completely contradictory to who she is. As a result of the bureaucratic nightmare that being an NCR border guard truly is, she is constantly frustrated. More specifically, this is due to command issuing orders to only maintain a standing force at the outpost, rather than an effective one. Despite her situation, she is not at rest. In fact, she is constantly on edge, especially since the smoke started rising from the east. While she can explain away the lack of foot traffic from Nipton, she cannot explain away said smoke. Believing it to be an attack by powder gangers, she laments not being able to go and verify. Any more such actions will result in harsh disciplinary actions. With the lack of traffic since, she knows that either the attack wasn't too bad, or it was really, really bad. In this situation, she could hire the courier to go and be her eyes. The attack was a massacre, and she was shocked to find that it was the Legion. The fact that they are now well within their de facto border, the Colorado River, has her on edge more than ever. She appreciates people who are able to move quietly. In fact, she can tell what kind of trade a person is in by the pattern of their pacing. Kilbourne has seen his fair share of war and politics, enough to give him a rather cynical perspective on life. Being stationed at the Mojave Outpost, the gateway into the Mojave, and watching the endless stretch of desert did little to improve his spirits. The sheer boredom of watching the road for critters trying to make their way into the camp does not help either, especially in the wake of the lockdown following the NCRCF prison break. A talented merchant who opened up a well-stocked bar at the Mojave Outpost at the Mojave Outpost barracks, Lacey has been observing the comings and goings at the checkpoint for a while. She has had a pretty good run, although the recent troubles up north have cut into her profits. Merchants might be stuck at the outpost, but they are unwilling to spend their hard-earned caps on liquor and other luxuries. The shortage of patrons makes her temper run short, not to mention dealings with Ranger Ghost upstairs. If the courier chooses to attack the NCR at the end of the add-on Lonesome Road, a mushroom cloud can be seen in its vicinity, although the outpost remains unchanged and not irradiated. Many NPCs, after their quests are completed, or companions if choosing to leave the courier's party, may walk to the Mojave Outpost and disappear at the west gate. Simulation completed. Please exit the pod, or have a technician select another file.